Next up we have a little thing that I made a while ago. Can be hung up or worn around your neck, etc. But basically this is a glow-in-the-dark panel, and once you give it a good charge in torch or daylight, over the course of a couple of hours obviously in daylight, then it will glow for about 8 to 12 hours, and for the first 4 it really does pump out a good amount of light. You know, infinitely thin, weighs nothing, so nice bit of kit, signalling device also, and the paracord is in fact reflective, so that shows up nicely in torchlight also. So good signalling panel, can mark where you've put your tent and many other uses. Next up we have the rest of the medical kit. Now this contains a wide range of items, lots of medicines, plasters, bandages, steri strips. Does in fact contain a torch in here with a 50-hour runtime and a spare battery and a battery inside the torch itself, so you can actually see what you're doing. Got some syringes in here, some tweezers, various painkillers, medications, and even a course of general antibiotics. So quite a versatile little kit. You know, I'm no surgeon, so I wouldn't be comfortable using more than the basic kind of first aid kit items, so makes sense to me. After the sleeping pad, the first aid kit was pretty much on top, so very easily accessible should the need arise. Right, next up in the kit we have about 2 meters of tubing, plastic tubing. What more can I say? Many uses for that. Okay, then we have a neck warmer. This is in fact Polish military snud, so just can keep your head and your neck warm if it does get really cold. Just help keep your core temperature up. Next we have a sand coloured shemagh. This is just thin cotton sheet to some extent, but also worn as a headdress. Many uses for that, including as a towel, soak up liquids, use it as a sling, use it as a blanket if it gets really cold. Lots of uses for that, as I said. Right, next up we have a little nod to longer term kind of survival or existence. This is in fact a SolarMonkey charger, which has a solar panel in here, and this hooks up to various bits and pieces, so I can charge AA, AAA batteries with this, and I can also, you know, subsequently run my telephone from the batteries. I can charge them up via this charger here. So this is, and obviously it also contains lots of different interchangeable heads, so you can power up a wide variety of electrical devices. This is probably the most useless bit of the kit, to be honest. I mean, if you live in the UK, then you know how often it is sunny out here, so it'll probably take you about 3 weeks to charge a AA battery in this kind of sunlight anyway. But it's very lightweight, so I've decided to include it. Next up we have a eye patch, which I'll demonstrate being worn just presently. No, only joking. This is in fact a paracord, 550 paracord sling to launch various projectiles in the hope of catching game, etc. This was actually very kindly given to me by, again, Mick over at Animal Tendencies. Put this together for me, gave it for a Christmas present, and really love that. That's a great bit of kit. Okay, so next up in here we have just loads of big gauge kind of nylon, cheap nylon cordage. Ultimately, you know, if you double, quadruple this up, you could tow a car with it, and does take quite a lot of weight. Not the best quality, will fray fairly rapidly, but could be useful again in shelter building. Next up we have a budget item, but it's actually pretty good. This is just a hand crank LED torch. Obviously the harder you crank it, the more light it gives out, and it does charge up. It's a good item to have just because you can power it from the hand cranking. Bit bulky, you know, I've got smaller ones as well, but construction quality is pretty good, especially on the crank mechanism, so I've decided to include it in there. Next up we have some potassium permanganate. Lots of uses for that, including medicinal. Good amount of it in there. Darkened glass container to preserve it. Good survival item. Obviously you can use it for sterilizing water as well. Next up we have a sleeping bag, which is vacuum sealed, you know, Mylar kind of sleeping bag. Just it's better than nothing, and it will keep you warm. Very lightweight too. Okay, next in here we have a case containing a cooking kit. In here we have a brass meths burner and a BCB Crusader cup and stove with lid. And that's the complete contents of that. No fuel in this pouch, but allows you to cook in the field, even using small bits of wood. So stainless steel construction, nice and durable and tried and tested piece of cooking kit, so that had to go in there. Next up we have a Katadyn ceramic water filter with spare filter included and cleaning kit. Puts through quite a few thousand litres of water, and can be worked on in the field if it, you know, breaks to some extent. It's not infallible obviously, but that's why I've got a spare filter in here, which is all been padded up to avoid any kind of breakage. But good quality water filter there, good for, as I said, thousands of litres of water. Next up in the kit we have Suzy, and this is actually a knife that I made myself. Forged it by hand under the tutelage of a well-known British knife maker. The handles were actually done for me by a friend of mine. Nice woods used there. Leather sheath, and it's a nice big chopper with an extremely sharp blade. Perfect for even shelter building. It's got a nice bit of weight to it, so it gives you some chopping capabilities. Nice thick stock, so you can even pry a little bit with it. Also makes a good food prep knife. Good bit of kit, essential. After my Falkniven F1, this is probably my favourite knife, especially because it's my baby and I created her. So there's Suzy. Lots of shelter building and other capabilities go along with that, needless to say. Okay, next up we have a vital piece of kit, spork. Never know when you can just run past someone and grab their dinner on the move. Alright, next up we have some more paracord in a kind of waterproof bag. More paracord, can't get enough of paracord. Next up we have a drinking kind of kit. This has got lots of water purification tablets, some soups in there, instant soups, some chicken stock and a toothbrush. Always good to have good hygiene in the field. So basically enough calories in there for probably about one day comfortably. Next in the bag we have a clamp lid box with loads and loads of hexy kind of style tabs in there. These are actually Esbit, so plenty there for a good, I don't know, probably 4 to 5 days worth of cooking 3 times a day. So a good amount of fuel in there, nicely sealed up, ready for use, keeps it free of moisture and stops the air getting to it too much. Obviously that can be used in combination with the BCB Crusader cook set, and independently it can be used as a good fire starter. Next up in the bag we have a small waterproof container again. This is just a kitchen kind of grade container. Contains some rice, flour, pasta, some chocolate drinks on the top. So, you know, probably another day or two's worth of food in there, just as some emergency rations. Obviously the rice and the pasta can be cooked up with the stock cubes in the other container to give you a bit more of a tasty meal rather than just eating mechanically. Always good to lift your morale with a bit of food. And stupidly packed, but yeah, there's 6 cup of soups in here. Again, various flavours, more food. I believe some food, it's wise to have some kind of long-term storable food in a bug out bag. Just makes sense to me. Some people may not consider that an essential item. In here we have a walkie-talkie, in fact 2 of them, powered by AAA batteries, which I do have in the pack. They're shit, I'll be honest with you. Low grade kind of walkie-talkies. I think I paid £15 to £20 for the pair. They work, you know, over a mile, yeah, no problems. So even that could give you some advantage in certain situations. So that's kind of communications there. Next up we have a big, again, kitchen grade container, and this contains loads of survival goodies, including more paracords, some light sticks, sewing kit, various types of thread, fire starter, some heat pads, chemical heat pads, hand wash, sweets, a multi-tool, and lots of spare batteries, various formats, CR123s, AAs and AAAs, basically all the ones that I use, super glue, a whistle and other various little bits and pieces, but all kept kind of free of shock and dust and water in this container. And in here is just a sweet box which has been taped up, and this contains Esbit, hexamine and cotton wool. So more fuel there for cooking or fire starting. The last piece in this kit is a small Maxpedition pocket organizer. It's not the mini, it's just the not sure which one, not the largest one, the next one down basically. A veritable smorgasbord of kit, including torches, fire steels, sharpeners, mini saws, miniature light sticks, a little Kevlar and tinder kind of lanyard that I made, some tweezers. What else have we got in here? Small shrink wrap towel, another torch here, glow in the dark elements, and yeah, lots of other little bits and pieces basically. Survival mirror in the front here, easily accessible after you've dug it out of the bottom of the bag. So that's my bug out bag so far. Obviously I reserve the right to change anything I choose to. I hope most of you agree. It does cover most of the immediate needs of a bug out bag, of a bug out situation. I understand it's not all encompassing, so I'd appreciate any comments to let me know if I've missed out anything essential. I can't think of anything too much. I think all the basic survival needs are covered there. Ideally I'd like to grab my full kind of bushcrafting kit if I was in that kind of bug out situation, but as a one hit wonder, I think it's pretty good going so far. So as I said, look forward to your comments and any hints that you may want to pass on. Much appreciated. Again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button if you do so. Also check out my other channel, Alpha Bushcraft, and my website alphabushcraft.co.uk. I hope you found this video helpful and or useful and at least entertaining. This is All Out The One signing up for now. You guys take care.